Shalom, and welcome back to the No Channel. This is Bernadette Johnson. I'm also known as Keziah or Kizzy. And today I'm coming to you with another video titled Trumpism versus Liberalism, the Civil War that Never Ended. Now, before I explain the title, of course, everyone is talking about the 2024 election and Trump's, win over Kamala Harris. So you have the conservatives taking the victory over the liberals, just like how the liberals took the victory over the conservatives, or the Democrats took the victory over the Republicans back in 2020. So now this time in 2024, it's the flip. So, of course, that's the talk right now. That's what's being talked about all on social media and all in the mainstream media. But today I'm going to put in my 2 cents, not so much as the election. I'm not going to talk so much about the election because, of course, that's already being talked about. But what I'm going to talk about is how what we're seeing today with the Trumpism, and the reason, and I deliberately said Trumpism instead of conservatism. Why I'm saying that is because you have looked like Donald Trump and his supporters have overshadowed the conservative base. Gone are I wouldn't say gone, but they're faded to the background. Are the conservatives like your Mitt Romneys or your George Bushes or your John McCain's? Those moderate conservatives, you're seeing them less and less. And actually, those type of conservatives, they don't care for Trump. They don't care for Trump. So Trump is pretty much taking over the Republican Party. Is in some ways it's called the Trump Party. So that's why I'm actually calling it Trumpism instead of conservatism. So Trumpism is actually, that's almost like the new conservatism, because they're more radical and far right wing than your former conservatives of yesteryears. So let's continue. As I said, that of course he won the 2024 presidency. So you have the Trump supporters, you have MAGA, they're celebrating, just like you had the Democrats and liberals celebrating in 2020. However, I personally before I go into that, what I want to talk about today is how this is just a continuation of the Civil War. And I'm talking about the Civil War of the 1860s. That Civil War, in a way, it never ended. It never ended because it forever put a rift in this country, at that time, the liberals would have been the Union, the North, and then the Confederates would be the conservatives of that time. And ever since the Civil War, this country has forever been divided. And just like what we're seeing, history always repeats itself. So it wasn't long after Trump won, you had anti-Trump protests erupting all over the country from coast to coast. Everyone had their own gripe against the Trump presidency. You have the illegal immigrants. They have their own gripe against Trump presidency. You have those who are for abortion rights and reproductive rights. They have their own gripe against another Trump presidency. Now, now from according to other YouTubers, they're saying that, and according to the footage that's being shown, there are not too many black people out there protesting. There are other, I mean, there's some black people protesting, but there are mainly other groups that are protesting another Trump presidency. So I just wanted to mention that, and I just find that a little interesting. You don't see too many of us out there. But like I was saying, that the Civil War forever caused the divide in this country, and I'm going to explain to you how that happened. Now, not long after the Civil War, you had Jim Crow. Now, you had the Reconstruction period that lasted, a little time right after the Civil War, where the ex-slaves, the former slaves enjoyed, rights and privileges and things like that. But that didn't last long. Once the president, Rutherford B. Hayes, he made a compromise with the South, and therefore the federal troops were removed from the South. And that's when the former Confederates took back over, and they pretty much put the black people under a so-called new form of slavery called the Jim Crow laws. And these Jim Crow laws lasted from the late 19th century until 1965. And then that was when the civil rights movement started up here in the 50s, where you had the marches and the protests and the sit-ins. And then that ended in the late 60s. So this country was always, at war ever since the civil rights. Because see, ever since the Civil War. Because see, before pre-Civil War, the what they call antebellum period, the United States was pretty much, on one accord. You had the abolitionists, a small group of abolitionists protesting slavery and this and that. But at one time, there was slavery in the North. So the United States was at one time sort of a monolith. But the Civil War forever changed the United States. And in a way, we have been at war ever since. Things might have quieted down, okay, after they, the federal troops pulled out. And then they brought in the Jim Crow laws. And of course, we were being, oppressed, but yet things, went on. And then we started protesting for our rights. And we eventually won, and we got our rights during the civil rights movement. And that also, the overthrowing of Jim Crow also caused a war. It wasn't a full-fledged real war shooting back and forth, not that kind of war, but it was still a war where it caused the uprising and an uproar, between the North and the South. Now the times following the civil rights, the 70s and 80s, things kind of quieted down, after, we overthrew Jim Crow, we won our civil rights, and things sort of quieted down just a bit. However, now this is me. I started seeing a revving up of the conservatives versus the liberals was in the early 90s when Clinton came on the scene. And then when he won the presidency, because see, Clinton was one of the presidents that pushed for gay rights. And he pushed for the liberal agendas, gay rights, abortion, and this and that. And that's when now, if someone else seen something different, let me know. But if you've seen the same thing I've seen, please, put in the comment section, that you also attest to this too. I seen an uprising of the conservatives, with anti-gay and anti-abortion speech. I saw a revving up of that in movements and things like that. And then the 90s, as I said, you've seen a reviving and a revving up of the liberals versus conservatives. And then, of course, when Obama became president, they really came out. Even before when he was running. and it looked like, he was winning, and then he won and won twice. Oh, they would make no mistake about it. They really came out. The conservatives really came out. And then that's when, after Obama served his 2 terms, that's when we got Trump. Because see, Trump, during Obama's presidency, he was the one pushing that birther movement, saying that Obama was not a real U.S. citizen. He was the one who came. He was one of the strongest voices against Obama during Obama's presidential run and during his presidency. And that's why he got the presidency, because it's called, some people call it a white lash. They called Trump's election in 2016 a white lash, because he was the anti-Obama, because they wanted to make sure they have somebody totally different from Obama in the White House. So it was thanks to Obama, Trump got elected. However, something else I want to, interject too. With all of this, the Civil War, Jim Crow, Civil Rights Movement, Trump versus Obama, liberals versus conservatives. What is at the base of all of this? What is at the base of all of this? Us, Black people, African Americans, Israelites. We are all at the base of this. So if someone tells you that this election has nothing to do with us, don't believe them. It has everything to do with us. Israel, we're at the center of it. Now, even if they don't refer to us specifically. And of course, you have others with their own agendas. You have the illegal immigrants with their agenda. You have the abortion rights, the LGBTQ. They're pushing they have their own agendas too, where they are fighting against Trumpism, fighting against conservatism. But at the end of the day, this is about us. Because why? After Trump's win, you had racist texts being sent to Black people's phones, saying that you've been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. And then you're what plantation group you're in. Now, of course, there was some illegal immigrant messages were sent out. But the main focus was on the slave plantation. So if you think that this is not about us, that we're not at the center of this in some kind of way, you are mistaken and you are deluded. This is about us. And we need to pay attention. For as these elections goes, how things, the relations between the liberals and conservatives, we must pay close attention. Do I say participate in these elections? No. Now, personally, I vote locally. Because see, local elections, that impacts me, more so. Like, for instance, a mayor or city, county council, school council. Yes, I do vote locally. But as far as these national elections and even some state elections, because see, I like to look at those candidates. I research those candidates. And both sides, whether it's Republican or Democrat, they push certain policies that are deal breakers for me. I won't go in any details on what those deal breakers are, but that's what I look at. And if some of them are deal breakers for me, I can't vote for you. I'm not going to vote for you. So no, I did not vote for Trump, and I did not vote for Kamala Harris. As I said in a previous video where I discussed the Trump and Harris presidential race, I don't support neither one of them. But however, Black people historically, for the most part, have supported Democrats far more than the Republicans. However, now during the earlier times, like in the Civil War and a little afterwards, the Republicans played the role of the Democrats, and the Democrats played the roles of the Republicans. So in those times, you had more Black people in the Republican Party than in the Democrat. But somewhere along that, you can do the research, somewhere into back in time, the party switched roles. It's kind of strange how that happened, but the party switched roles. And like I said, that now this may come off as strange when I say this. Even though I said I don't support either party, but I do believe that there are some in the Democratic ranks, in the liberal ranks, that are genuinely, I said some now, a few, that are genuinely concerned for the welfare of Black people. Now, of course, Malcolm X warned us about how to be, wary of that liberal, because he's like that fox. He pretends to be your friend, but yet at the end of the day, his agenda is the same as the conservative. But I do believe that there are more who are in the rank of the Democrats, liberals. There are a few who are genuinely concerned about the welfare of Black people. And I'm going to go more into that later. I'm going to explain, elaborate on that a little bit more when I talk about the liberal and versus the conservative. Okay, now let me make sure. I want to make sure that I want to make sure I'm not leaving anything out. Now, as far as Trump goes, I believe Donald Trump was raised up in these last days for a divine purpose. Am I saying a righteous purpose? No way. That man is as wicked as all get out. And does that? And when I'm with me saying that, am I saying Kamala Harris is righteous? No. They both support wicked agendas. But I'm going to focus more on Donald Trump because, see, I see Donald Trump as a double agent. And some have said this. Some say that Donald Trump actually plays both sides. Because I must be honest, I always thought that Donald Trump was a Democrat. I didn't find out different until he came out against Obama. And it took me by surprise because you have these rappers rapping about Trump this, Trump that. You have him in pictures with the Clintons. He was friends with the Clintons. So I was surprised when he came out as a Republican, as a conservative. So that's why I'm thinking that those who were saying that he's a double agent, they may be onto something. They may be right. But like I said, I believe that he's serving a divine purpose, and I believe Yah gave him the win because, see, the scripture says that Yah sets up kings and he takes them down. Unfortunately, I don't have a slide for that scripture. I may put it in my description after I finish this video. It's in Daniel. I believe it's in the book of Daniel. But I'll put in the description or in the comment section where Yah sets up kingdoms and takes them down. And you can read it for yourself. But I believe that Trump is being raised up in these last days. And he's been raised up for a divine purpose. And he's been raised up to, I'm going to go back to the first screen. He's being raised up to rev up this conservative base. Because I'm telling you, as I said before, things were kind of quiet between the liberals and the conservatives for a time. And then in the 90s, you seen things start heating up a little bit after Clinton started pushing his liberal agenda. And then Obama really set things off because they saw what they consider a black man, which was really biracial. This black man and his whole black family taking over the White House. And they weren't having that. It's called the White House for a reason. And they couldn't have that. So I believe Yah is raised Trump up in these last days to fire up that conservative base. Because look at when he lost the 2020 election and how his supporters, his MAGA supporters, I have a little picture, this bottom one here. how his supporters stormed the Capitol to try and keep him as president. They stormed. That's something unprecedented that happened in this country. Never ever has that happened before. Where you have supporters storm a Capitol. And then this man is a 34-time felon. You know, he has all these civil cases against him. You know, these assault, I won't say the first word, assault accusations against him, lawsuits brought against him. All this being thrown at this man. And this man still won the presidency. Those toxic rallies, all the racism that was spewed, the racist remarks that was spewed at his rallies. And this man still wins the presidency. And in my honest opinion, I thought that Kamala Harris had it. I thought she had it because I'm okay, yeah, this man, he's done. That was my opinion. He's done. Kamala had, and I also thought that, Kamala was for all the, progressive agenda, the liberal agenda. She's more in line with, the direction that the United States wants to go. Everybody have their rights, LGBTQ, abortion rights. She's multiracial. The U.S., they want to be more integrated. She's perfect. She has a Jewish husband, she, is a mixed, marriage and everything. I'm like, oh yes, Kamala Harris would be, she would be perfect for what the United States, the direction the United States want to go. Or was I wrong? I was wrong. And I admit that I was wrong, but y'all said no. So that's why I believe for Trump to go get through all that being thrown at him and him still to be president, this is nothing but Yah in this. And let me make it clear once again. I'm not saying that this is because Trump is so holy and so set apart that Yah protect him. No. Yah has raised him up specifically in these last days for a divine purpose. And I truly believe once he serves that purpose, and this is me talking, I'm not prophesying anything. I truly believe once he serves that purpose that, he's going to be removed from the scene. I don't know how, but I believe he's going to be removed from the scene because people like leaders like him, there's no peaceful going out for leaders like that. A Hitler and Mussolini, those type of leaders, I just don't see that. I don't see a peaceful outgoing for Donald Trump. But as I said before, he's firing up the conservative base because see the conservative base. Let me go to this slide here. The conservative base is specifically the white evangelicals. Their numbers are dropping. And the younger evangelicals, they're leaving the faith. And a lot of times when people see that their numbers are dropping, they get desperate. And also, let me go to this. This is a graph showing like the white evangelical Protestants from 2006 to 2022. Look at how it's dropped. And they feel like they're losing, losing power because they're losing numbers. And Trump has revived them. And also too, now for him to win the presidency, it wasn't just white evangelicals voting for him. It was others that voted for him too. But it's the white evangelicals appears to be his strongest supporters. Others probably voted for him for their own individual reason. But at the root of it is white supremacy. You can say what you want to, but those who supported Trump, a lot of times, the root of it is white supremacy. Now these black people that supported Trump, I just have to open up their heads and look, their brain and just see what's going on. Why will you support a man who is clearly a white supremacist? You are clearly voting against your own interests. Now, I'm not saying that you should have that black people should have voted for Kamala Harris either. No, I'm not saying that either. But this man is a blatant, and his supporters are blatant white supremacists. You even have footage and pictures of black people. There's a black man. I think it was in a rally in Michigan. where he was getting his head beaten in at this Trump rally. He was a Trump supporter too. He had his Trump gear and things like that, but they was beating his head in at the rally because they let you know you're not part of us. You're not welcome. But anyway, back to the white evangelicals. Yes, their numbers are dropping, but yet Trump had revived them. And I'm gonna tell you this. This was back in 22. And it was a local election that was going on in my area, and I volunteer at a performing arts center. I volunteer as an usher, and I volunteered to usher at this debate. And you had these two. Well, one was an incumbent, and the other one was a challenger, and this was and the representative was one of the ones that certified the 2020 election. And the MAGA supporters in my region now, yes, I mean, you may ask me why in the world did I volunteer at that event? But I was there. I was right there in the middle of it, ushering and this and that. But anyway, nobody tried to bother me. But anyway, you had the then representative people. You had the MAGA supporters insulting him and throwing all kind of insults at him because he certified the 2020 election. Of course, that's the election that Biden won. They did not want him to certify that election. And that's why the MAGA supporters was mad at Mike Pence too, and was crying, hang Mike Pence, man, Mike Pence, because of that too. So they eventually they voted him out. But it was a debate taking place between this representative and the other one, of course, who would not have certified the election had he been in that position. And anyway, he defeated the representative that was in that position. But anyway, the reason I said this was at that same debate, you had one of the, because it was multiple challengers. You had a white female say it, and she said it passionately, where she praised Trump. And she said that he revived, something within his base. And that confirmed it to me. Trump revived that white conservative base. So he is being used for a divine purpose. And he is being used to once again start a civil war. And that's where I believe that this is heading. We're heading into a civil war / race war. So y'all get ready, because this is about to go down. Trump presidency is going to be one of chaos. It's going to be one of turmoil. We were warned. Let me go back. Let me go to this slide. Oh, excuse me. Let me go to the slide that I want to get to. Right here. We were warned by the military leaders who served under Trump. Kelly was one of them. And you have 13 ex-Trump officials back Kelly's stand against Trump. They warned the American people about him winning a second term. Not second term, my bad. Second presidency. Because they compared him to Hitler. So he's going to lead this country into chaos, into war, and into further division, because you already see the division. The division in this country is so, it's just so rampant. So what I'm going to say is to stay prayed up. And for this civil war, history repeats itself. And I'm going to say this. I said I was going to go back to the point about there are some in the ranks of the Democrats, in the ranks of the liberals, that are truly, there are few, there are just a few that I believe truly are genuinely a friend of the Black people. And just because of that, I believe that doing as far as this liberal versus conservative war, or Trumpism versus conservatism versus liberalism. I believe that the liberals, they will be the last one standing. They will the conservatives are going to go down first. That's what I believe, because the conservatives, they make it known how they feel about us as black people, how they feel about Israel, how they feel about Yah's people. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, if you're familiar with what my beliefs, you know where I stand with African Americans and some Africans in the diaspora, and even some tribes in Africa, that we are the true biblical Israelites. And I believe that because of the conservatives, they make it known where they stand with Israel. Now, I'm not talking about the Israelis over there in the land of Israel. I'm talking about us, with Yah's chosen people. I truly believe that they are going to go down first. Now, Yah is going to take this country out as a whole, but I believe the conservatives, this is me now, this is no prophecy or anything, this is me, but I believe they are going to go down first, because we are the apple of Yah's eye, and Yah sees. Yah looks at a nation, how they treat his people. And some nations have been judged, and some nations, like if you read the scriptures, some nations have been totally wiped out according to how he treated his people. That's why King Saul was commanded to wipe out the Amalekites. He didn't obey Yah fully, but he was commanded to wipe out the Amalekites. Why? Because of the way the Amalekites treated the Israelites when they came into the promised land, when they was journeying into the wilderness of the promised land. They did not show them good hospitality. They fought against them. They warred against them. Yah sees that. And he sees how how anti-black, which is really anti-Israel, but I just say it for anti-black, the conservatives are. And that's not to say that there are no anti-blacks in the ranks of the liberals. Yes, they are. Believe me, they are. They're just more slick with it. But I also believe that there are some among the ranks of liberals that are our true friends. And I believe in due time, they're going to come out as our true, genuine friends. I believe there are a sprinkle of some. But yes, I do believe that the conservatives, they're going to go down first. But at the end of this day, this country is going to be judged. And I believe with Trump in office, is going to really accelerate this country into chaos, and later on into judgment. I don't have any kind of timeline, but all I'm going to say is watch and wait. So I hope, this was a helpful, insightful word for those who heard it. But this is my take on this matter. So may you all continue to be blessed, and please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, be blessed.